Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الرجال, the men. Plural of the word, رجل. Who is رجل? A man. And رجل is from the root letters Ra, Jim, Lam. From the word رجل. رجل is foot. So it is said that a rajul is a person who walks on his feet. Because a human being is different from other animals. You won't find any other animal that walks only on 2 feet. Only. Okay, fine, there are birds that walk on 2 feet, but then they fly. And that's not what they typically do. They only walk on 2 feet for a reason. Similarly, apes, what do? Or monkeys, they walk on 2 feet, but generally, they also walk on all 4s. But the human being in particular, what is the natural way of moving for the human being? Walking on 2 feet. So a rajul is a man. And remember that the word rajul is only used for a man. Okay? Unfortunately, there are some people who say that, okay, if the man is the qawwam, so if he is not being the qawwam, then the woman should be the qawwam. And the word that is being used is ar-rijal. So a woman also walks on 2 feet, therefore, she's going to be the qawwam. No. Ar-rijal, rajul, is only used for men. It is never, ever used for women. And remember that rajul does not even give the meaning of human being. It gives the meaning of specifically a dhakar, a male, a man. So ar-rijalu, the men, who are they? They have been made qawwamuna ala nisa, the managers, the maintainers of the women. The word qawwamun is a plural of qawwam. And qawwam, what's the root? Qaf, waw, meen. What does qama mean? To stand. Right? Now notice, this is not qama, or this is not qa'im, but rather this is qawwam. Just as ghaffar, qahhar, tawwab, khallaq. What does it show? Mubalagha. So this is mubalagha. And what does mubalagha mean? It is the intensified form of a word. Or it depicts the excessiveness of an action. The excessiveness of a quality, of a trait. So a qawwam is not just one who stands, okay? But qawwam, especially when the word is followed by ala, qama ala, it means to protect and watch. What does it mean? To protect and watch someone. To be the custodian, to be the guardian. So basically, qama ala, qawwam ala, who is he? A guardian, a protector. Secondly, this word gives the meaning of the one who takes care of the needs of someone. The one who sustains the other, looks after the needs, fulfills the needs. So qawwamun, first of all, guardians. Secondly, sustainers, maintainers. And thirdly, qawwam also gives a sense of one who gives rise, or one who makes to stand. Meaning one who establishes. That he's not just making sure that this person is alive, or this person is safe, but they're also ensuring the growth. Whether it is physical, or mental, or spiritual, whatever that is necessary. So first of all, guardian. Secondly, maintainer, sustainer. And thirdly, one who establishes as well. And if you look at it, the word is qawwam. And if the word qa'im was used, the meaning would be different. Qawwam gives a sense of one who is qawwam ala kulli hal, meaning in all states, all the time. And what does it show? That a man, because he is a man, he will be qawwam. Alright? A man, because he's a man, he will be qawwam, ala kulli hal. Even if he's not being a qawwam, still he is the qawwam. Even if he does not take the responsibility of being a qawwam, still he is the qawwam. Because sometimes women say that if my man is not earning, My husband is not earning, he's not working, I'm stronger than him, he's a weakling, then I should be the qawwam. No. Ar-rijalu qawwamun. Because he is the man, therefore he will always be the qawwam. Whether or not he's fulfilling the conditions. Whether or not he's taking the responsibility. And yes, this is a privilege, of course. But every privilege comes with what? Responsibilities. And having these responsibilities that you're looking after, taking care of, providing, and ensuring the growth, this is a heavy responsibility. A very heavy responsibility. So, the men are qawwamuna ala nisa. So who is a qawwam then? Qawwam is a person who has authority over the other. Whether it is an organization, a company, or a person, a human being. Who is qawwam? You can say the leader, the one who has authority. And why do they have this authority? Because they have to maintain the well-being of that person or that organization. They have to maintain the well-being. Because if you think about it, if somebody is looking after everything and they're not given the charge, can they do their job properly? It's not possible. Because when you're looking after someone, you have to make decisions. And in order to make decisions, you have to have the authority. Like for example, if you're told, you have to clean this place. Aren't you going to ask for the charge as well, that I should be given the charge to go and buy the cleaning supplies as well? And if somebody just comes and gives you just a few supplies, which are not enough or which are not appropriate, are you going to be able to do your job properly? No. If you've been given a responsibility, you also need authority. So, qawwam is someone who has the authority over the other. Why? Because he has to look after and maintain the well-being of those under him. He has to protect and provide for their needs. So, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. The men, meaning the husbands or the fathers, who are they? The qawwam over the women. Who are the women? Their wives, or in the case of the father, their daughters. So what does it mean by qawwam in the context then? How is the man the qawwam over the woman? First of all, the man has authority over the woman. In the sense that he is the leader. You see, any organization, any company, any work, anything cannot be run with two leaders. It cannot be run with two leaders. There has to be someone who has higher authority. Even if you're cooking, if there are a lot of chefs working together in a kitchen, there's always who? A head chef. Right? You can't have two head chefs. Otherwise, the kitchen is not going to run properly. If you have a company there and there's a manager and the manager's wife also comes and pretends that she's a manager, what's going to happen? The company is not going to work properly. Similarly, if there is a car that is being driven by one person and the other is always telling him, go right, slow down, what do you call such a person? A backseat driver. Right? Because he cannot drive, but he is pretending that he's driving and he's interfering. So, nothing can be run with two leaders. There has to be someone who has higher authority, who has the final say in matters. This is very, very important. And because a family is also like an organization, therefore you need someone who has the higher authority. And who is that? The man. Why the man? We will inshallah learn about that. Secondly, the man is qawwam over the woman. How? That he is responsible to provide for the woman, to look after the needs of the woman, and to protect the woman as well. He doesn't have a woman with whom he can just fulfill his needs with, but rather he has to provide for her. He has to give nafaqah to her. He has to look after her needs. He has to protect her. He has to guard her. All of this is important for the qawwam to do. And thirdly, the man is a qawwam. How? That he also has to ensure that the woman is growing. How? Mentally, spiritually. So, the man is not just to bring food to his wife, but he is also to teach her adab. You can say almost as though the man is also supposed to teach his wife. Why? Because a woman, if she's at home and the man is going outside learning one thing after the other, going to the masjid, attending one lecture, taking one course, and the woman is sitting at home with the children, is she just going to stale? Is she just going to stay stagnant in her knowledge? No. She needs somebody to tell her, and the person who is living with her is the best person to teach her. Because he is in the same house. He also has authority over her. If he is bringing her food, should he not bring her knowledge? If he is bringing her things that she likes, should he not tell her about that which is going to benefit her? So, the men are not just the leaders, they're not just the providers, but they're also supposed to make sure that their women, that their wives, that their daughters are doing well in their deen. They're also the mu'addib, meaning they're supposed to teach adab to the women as well. So, قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Why are the men made the qawwamun? For several reasons. Of them, 2 are mentioned over here. First of all, بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Because Allah has given preference to who? To some of them over others. Meaning Allah has given preference to men over women. How? You know that the word فَضَّلَ يُفَضِّلُ تَفْضِيل, what does it mean? To give extra to someone, ziyada. So, what is it that the men have been given extra or more in comparison to the women? First of all, quwwah. What kind of quwwah? Quwwah zahira. Meaning, apparent strength. And what is that strength? Physical strength. If you look at it, generally, men are stronger than women. We're not saying that every man is stronger than every woman. No. It's possible that some women are much stronger than men. Right? But this is generally, on average. بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. That men, they have more quwwah zahira, they have more physical strength. Secondly, they have more quwwah batina. What does it mean by that? Internal strength. And what is that internal strength? Sabr, patience. They have more tahammul. They're more forbearing, they're more tolerant, they're more calm. And women, on the other hand, they're more emotional. If something big happens, the women begin to panic. And what happens to the men? As if nothing has happened in the world. If something happens, women start crying. Immediately, they start crying. And what happens to the men? They're fine. Right? Yes, I'm not saying that no man cries. Men also cry. But generally, who is weaker in their sabr? The women. So, بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, because the quwwah batina. And what is that quwwah batina? That men have more sabr, they have more tahammul. Similarly, they have more shaja'ah, they have more bravery. They are more brave compared to women. A woman sees a small spider, she starts screaming. So somebody has to come and take care of that spider. Similarly, they have more azm. The men, they have more determination compared to women, on average, generally. Similarly, men, they have more aql. They have more intellect. And what's the evidence for that? How many of you have done engineering? Or intend to do engineering? Okay, I see one hand. 2. And if this was a men's class, I'm sure there were many more hands. There are many more men who are good at math, engineering, science. This is something that is a fact. Generally, if you look at it, the women, their brains are such that they're more inclined into arts or humanities, and the men, on the other hand, they're more inclined to sciences and engineering. Why? Because this is how their brains function. So, first of all, quwwah zahira. Secondly, quwwah batina. And quwwah batina includes tahammul, sabr, aql, shaja'ah, azm. So, the men, they have more mental strength, they have more emotional stability, they use more reason. And the women, they use more emotion. So, because of these strengths, because of these quwwah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the men, because of them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also laid certain obligations on the men. which add to their tafdeel. Like for instance, because men are physically stronger, they don't suffer from their monthly period. Similarly, they don't have to bear the responsibility of bearing children and giving birth. But the women have to. But because of this reason, men have to go 5 times a day to the masjid. They have to do that. The women, are they obligated to do so? No. The men have to go for Jumu'ah. They don't have a choice. The women, they can stay at home. Why? Because a woman is physically different from the man. Physically different. And therefore, the responsibilities that are laid on the men are also more compared to the responsibilities that are laid on the women. Similarly, men, they have to go for jihad. And the women, they don't have to. If they go, like for instance, to help the soldiers and stuff, this is good for them. However, it is not mandatory upon them. So, Allah has given tafdeel to men over the women. And again, remember, this does not mean that every single man is stronger physically or mentally or emotionally than every single woman, but this is generally at an average level. The second reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them the qawam is وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. And because they spend from their wealth. Meaning the men have to spend from their wealth, from their money. What does it mean by their money? Meaning the money that they have earned. Whether it is through a work that they have done and they have acquired a wage, or it is a share of inheritance, whatever the men own, their mal, amwalihim, what do they have to do with their mal? They have to spend it. They must spend it. You see over here, وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا. It's like understood. They have to. They don't have a choice with regards to that. Meaning the man has to spend on the woman, and the woman is not responsible for spending on the man. So because the man has been given the responsibility to spend on the woman, should he not have the final say? Of course. It's his money. So for instance, a man and woman, they decide, both of them discuss as to what they want to get, what they want to buy, but who should have the final say? The husband, because he is the qawwam. So وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. Now when do the men spend on their wives? First of all, at the time of marriage, by giving her the mahr. And secondly, nafaqah, the expenditure that the man gives to the woman, the money that the man spends on the woman in order to fulfill her needs. Sometimes for her to travel. Sometimes so that she can just indulge in some luxuries. So, وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. So the men, they have been made the qawwam, and what is their responsibility? That they have to look after the women, they have to protect them, they have to maintain them, they have to look after their needs, provide for their needs, and also ensure their mental growth, their spiritual growth. And they also have to spend on the women. So this is what the men have to do. Now when we read this, they have to spend on the women, they have to take care of the women, they have to protect the women. It's not just one-sided. It's not just the leader's responsibility. It's not just the manager's responsibility. At the same time, those under him also have to do something. So in the first part of the ayat, the men are told as to what they're supposed to do. Now, the women are being told as to what they are supposed to do. Okay? Look at the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ. So, the righteous women. As-salihat is a plural of salihah. And who is salihah? One who is righteous. A good woman. Who is a good woman? The one who gives the haqq of Allah and also gives the haqq of her husband. That is a salihah woman. Who is she? The one who gives the haqq of Allah as well as the haqq of her husband. Many times, in giving the haqq of Allah, what do some women do? They forget their husbands. Like for instance, I had to listen to this lecture. I'm really enjoying it. And their husband comes after the whole day. He's sitting alone on the dinner table eating. I'm enjoying my lecture. Okay, you're giving the haqq of Allah by increasing in your knowledge, increasing in your iman. But what about amal? What about giving the haqq of the husband as well? Now this doesn't mean that we go on to another extreme. That in giving the haqq of the husband, we neglect the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like for example, some women, in cooking, they will spend the whole day. And they will just go to pray in the middle, barely their fard. And even in that they're thinking, what's happening to the food right now? Similarly, some women, they will spend hours just in getting ready, just in getting dressed up. And unfortunately, many women don't do this for their husbands, but they actually do it for other reasons. So in doing that, they will spend so much time, so much effort, that obviously they will not have any time left to revise their lesson, read through their lesson. So what is important? A balance. And what is that balance? That you give the haqq of Allah and you give the haqq of the people as well. So as-salihat, the women, the righteous women. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best woman is she who, when you look at her, she pleases you. The best woman is she who, when you look at her, she pleases you. Why? How? Because she's dressed up? Okay. Why else? She has a smile? Why else? She's not complaining. She's not negative. She's not negative. She says positive things. She says happy things. So when you look at her, she pleases you. When you command her, when you tell her about something, she obeys you. Like for instance, the husband says, can you bring me a glass of water? The woman says, why don't you go get it yourself? He could go get it himself. But if he's asking you, you're getting an opportunity to please him. That when you command her, she obeys you. And when you're absent, she protects her honor and your property. So فَالصَّالِحَاتِ, the righteous women, are who? They are qanitat, ones who are obedient. Qanitat is a plural of qanitah. And qanitah is the woman who does qunut. And what is qunut? First of all, obedience, ta'ah. And secondly, qunut gives the meaning of humility. And thirdly, qunut also gives meaning of dawam, constancy, to do something continuously. So who are qanitat then? Women who obey, how? Constantly. And with humility. Because it's possible that somebody says something to you, you don't like it, and you have a bad expression on your face, and a very arrogant posture, and you bring the glass of water like, here. That is obedience, but is that qunut? Is that with humility? No. Similarly, one is that a person is asked to do something, and they do it only when they think they're going to get some benefit in return. And the other is that you do it constantly. So what is qunut? That you always obey. Not just when you want something in return. Or not just when you're trying to please them. Because sometimes if you've done something wrong, then you try to do the extra things to make them happy. Yes, it should be done, but obedience should be all the time. It shouldn't just be sometimes. So فَالصَّالِحَاتُ, the righteous women, who are they? They are first of all qanitat, meaning they're always obedient, not just when they want something in return, or not just when they feel like it, not just when they love their husbands a lot. Secondly, they're qanitat how? That they're humble. They're not arrogant. They're not arrogant before their husbands, nor are they arrogant before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, they are humble. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتُ. And you see, in any organization, if there is a leader, and his leadership is not accepted by others, or people do accept the leadership, but they don't respect him, they don't respect the leader, how does the leader feel? Just imagine you're made the in charge. Let's say there's a group, you're made the in charge. You're the leader of the group, and people don't listen to you. How do you feel? Or they listen to you, but they don't acknowledge that you're the leader. How do you feel? You don't feel valued. You lose your confidence. Or sometimes you will try to take revenge from them. So in order to keep the perfect balance, what has been done? The men, they're given the authority, and the women, what are they supposed to do? Listen to their husbands as well. So فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ. Who else of صالحات women? They're also حافظات, ones who guard, ones who protect. What do they protect? لِلْغَيْبِ, for the unseen. حافظات is from حفظ. And what does حفظ mean? To guard, to protect something. So these women, they also guard and protect لِلْغَيْبِ, for the unseen. What is al-ghayb? Al-ghayb is ma ghaba, that which is hidden. That which is hidden from who? First of all, from the other people. That which is hidden from the other people. So what does it mean? The secrets between a woman and her husband. What are these secrets? What are these private matters? First of all, it is the private parts of the woman. So حافظات للغيب, what does it mean? That the women, what do? They don't commit zina. They don't go on exposing themselves to other people. They protect their chastity. حافظات للغيب. They protect that which is hidden from the rest of the people, and which has to be kept hidden from the rest of the people. Similarly, what else do they protect? Their own chastity and honor, as well as their husband's honor. Because unfortunately, some women, what they do is when they're sitting with their friends, they start talking about things that are very private between a woman and her husband. Like for instance, the way the man dresses up in the house, or the way that the man speaks, or the way that the man deals with her, or what the man did. What are these? Private matters. Private matters between a husband and his wife. So these women, what do? They don't leak out these private matters to others. And remember, we learned earlier that the man and the woman, the husband and the wife, they're like libas to one another. What does it mean? They're the closest ones to each other. What you know about your husband, probably nobody else knows. And what your husband knows about you, probably nobody else knows. So what is hifz? What is protection? What is guarding? That you don't tell other people about the private matters of your husband. The private matters which are just between you and your husband. Whether it is something that has to do with his financial matters, or in his private life, or his habits, or his deen, whatever. You don't tell other people about the private matters of your husband. حافظات للغيب. So first of all, what is it? The private parts. Secondly, it is the chastity and honor of the woman herself as well as her husband. Similarly, some women, they talk about bedroom matters with other friends. And this is something that is unacceptable. This is something that does not suit a woman. This is against haya. حافظات للغيب. Secondly, al-ghayb, what does it refer to? That which is hidden from the husband. So first of all, that which is hidden from the rest of the people. And secondly, that which is hidden from the husband. What does it mean by this, what is hidden from the husband? Meaning in the absence of the husband. When the husband is away. When the husband is not there. These women, what do? They protect their private parts. They protect their honor. They protect the honor of the husband. They protect the secrets, the private matters, the interests of the husband. And they also protect the husband's property as well as the husband's children. Remember that. They also protect the husband's property as well as the husband's children. They're the hafizatu lil ghayb. We learn about Ismail alayhi salam. That Ibrahim alayhi salam, he came to visit him once and he was not there. And his wife opened the door. So he asked her about how things were, and she complained. She complained. What did he say? That when your husband comes, tell him to replace such and such, which symbolize that you replace your wife. You change it. Why? Because a woman who complains about even the finances or the private matters which are between a husband and wife, what is she doing? she's leaking out the secrets. Like for instance, a woman goes and says, my husband only makes this much money. I'm having so much trouble. What is this? Is this hifz bil ghaib? A man is doing his best. He's doing his best. Whatever he can do. Whatever he can afford. Who gives you the authority to go and insult him in public, in front of your parents? Once this very close friend of ours, elderly lady, she was telling me about how when she got married, she went over to her parents' house and she started complaining about, how things were at home. And her father got so upset that you can't talk about these things with us even. And what do? Many girls, what is their habit? They get married, every little detail, every single detail, they call their mothers, they call their fathers, and they tell them. And the parents have no respect left for their son-in-law. They have no respect left for their son-in-law. So, hafidhatu lil ghaib, what does it mean? That you're not just protecting the secrets of the private matters, but also, something that is between you and your husband. If your husband cannot afford to buy you jewelry every year, or to buy you expensive gifts every year, he cannot afford it. It's possible that he had a lot of money, now he lost it. And when you get married to him, maybe you find about some things which you're not comfortable with or which you don't like. So even then, why should you go discuss those matters with other people? The secrets should remain secrets. The private matters should remain private. Don't go discuss these private matters with other people. Because what are they going to do? Can they help you? No, they cannot. What are they going to do then? They're just going to look down upon your husband. And if a person does not respect your husband, I'm sorry, they're not going to respect you either. Your respect, how do you gain it? By the respect of your husband. So if you're insulting your husband, you're actually insulting yourself. Because remember, the husband is like a libas. Would you disgrace your own clothes? No. Because if you insult your clothes, you're actually insulting yourself. And if you respect them, if you treat them well, what does it mean? You're respecting yourself. Hafidhatu lil ghaib. Ones who guard the private matters. Bima hafidhallah. Because Allah guarded. What does it mean by this? This has been understood in two ways. That first of all, because Allah has protected the woman through the husband. She has been made muhsana. How? Through the husband. So if she is being given her rights and protection by the husband, why should she go and disgrace her husband or leak out his private matters to other people? Bima hafidhallah. Because Allah has protected her through her husband. And if a woman does not do hifz, then what is she doing? This is ingratitude for the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah gave you a shelter, Allah gave you a libas, Allah gave you a partner, and you're insulting him? You're not respecting him? And secondly, bima hafidhallah gives a sense of that they protect the secrets. Why? Because Allah has obligated them to protect the secrets. Meaning, bima amara Allahu bihi an yuhfaz. Because Allah has obligated the women that they must protect these private matters. So you understand what it means by hafidhatu lil ghaib? Sometimes the husbands, they come and confide with their wives that, this is happening at work. I think I'm going to get a raise, or I think I'm going to lose my job. Things are not going that well. And a woman, what does she do? She calls up her father, she calls up her brother, she calls up her mother and tells them, I think my husband's going to get a raise. And everybody's looking up now. When is he going to get a raise? When is he going to get a raise? This is a private matter. Until it happens, and even if it does happen, why should you go on telling people my husband makes this much money? Why? Either you're boasting or you are insulting your husband. It's not appropriate. So, anything that is just between the husband and the wife, it should not be leaked out by either of them. Neither the husband nor the wife. Why are the women mentioned over here? Shouldn't the husbands do the same thing? Why are the women mentioned over here? Because generally, this is something that women suffer from. They love talking. Their hobby is gossiping. They love sharing everything with their mothers, with their sisters, with their friends. So this is why hafidhatu lil ghaib is especially mentioned for the women. And if you look at it, if the man is the qawwam, He is looking after the needs of the woman. The woman is salihah, qanita, hafidha. Imagine the relationship. Just imagine. What a good relationship. What a happy family. But if either of the two don't fulfill their responsibilities, then what's going to happen? Problems.